So it's Thanksgiving, the time of year we all get together and enjoy some meaty meals. But before we tuck in, let's go around and ask what everyone's thankful for.
Yeah, I'm thankful for Fungus. He keeps all of my weapons safe.
I'm thankful to the knights for bringing back all of my animals.
I'm thankful for my daughters.
What do you mean by that? Oh no! So, now we know what everyone's thankful for, let's go over the rules for this run. So for the Castle Crashers meat run, we are only allowed to use the ribeye weapon. This means that magic, arrows, and bombs are not allowed. Our second rule is that we can only use Monkeyface for our animal orb. Monkeyface will increase the amount of drops we get, meaning more meat. And for our third rule, we can only heal from meat drops. That means healing potions and any other healing is not allowed. This whole run will be done on insane mode and begins in the home castle. Since it's the first level of the game, nothing should be too hard here. The enemies are easy to defeat, and as long as I don't forget the rules, we should get by with zero issue. Right, I have no idea how many hits it takes. No, that's not too bad. No! Come on! Yeah, so Monkeyface is actually a double-edged sword. Since on one part, we do get more meat drops, technically making the run easier. But at the same time, Monkeyface will also cause more fruit to drop, meaning bigger chances for us to make mistakes. This meant I had to train myself to not immediately run over to any enemy bodies. But after getting through the first few waves of enemies, we eventually got our very first meat drop of the run. And after our first meat drop, the meat wouldn't stop coming. This led us to the barbarian boss, where we actually had to consider something I've never really thought about. So during this fight, there will be 2 barbarians that spawn in. Defeating these enemies will guarantee a fruit drop. This meant that I had to be a lot more careful when fighting the barbarian boss, as he could have easily knocked me into the fruit. But with some precision, the barbarian boss fell, and we moved on to the next boss, which was actually a lot worse. So on insane mode, the troll mother will run away whenever she takes damage as long as she's below half health. This isn't ideal, since it's very easy to get swarmed by the trolls if you're targeting the troll mother. So the most ideal strat when it comes to defeating this boss is by focusing on the trolls. By keeping the trolls in a constant juggle, the troll mother will eventually walk into your attacks. However, since this is the meat run, we had to once again consider something that you don't normally consider. And that's the fact that every time we defeat one of these trolls, there's a very good chance that they will drop some fruit, which was very stressful when I'm juggling inches above this fruit. This meant that I couldn't touch the ground, as it would almost guarantee me having to restart the level. I then got chased by a giant troll who I think wanted my meat, defeated the catfish by beating him with my meat, before moving on to Tallgrass Fields where it was an all-out meat war. Yeah, so if you've ever wanted to know who would win against red meat and fish, now you have your answer. Next was the bear boss fight, where this happened. I need to put the rules of the run in the description. I'll do it for the next stream. I just completely forgot. Is that bear Hey, yo! Yeah, I want the meat that they're eating. Next was PP Strello, who actually liked it when I smacked him with my meat. Yeah, so as long as you don't hit PP Strello too fast, he will just stand there and take it. So I defeated PP Strello and moved on to Flowery Fields. Next was the Groom boss fight, where I took my first death of the run, then the second, then the third, and the fourth. Yeah, so the Groom on insane mode is no joke, mainly thanks to the randomness of his attacks. One minute he can open up with bombs, whereas the next can just be spinning melee attacks. But after 5 deaths, I finally understood it and defeated the Groom, standing over his dead body, meat in hand. Next was the carriage, where I had another problem that I normally don't have to think about. So when you fall off the carriage, the game will replace you back on top. During the respawn animation, your character will actually use your magic jump, which deals magic damage to any enemies that are nearby. So unless you've got some magic meat, I couldn't fall off during this entire sequence. This was made worse when the giant troll from earlier chased me all the way here. I'm guessing he followed the scent of my meat, which was apparently so strong that even the thieves were raring to get it. Next was Cyclops Cave, where we saw the real dangers of having loose fruit on the floor. This is why I'm afraid to do the Necromancer fight, since every enemy is guaranteed to drop fruit. And if you have any experience in that fight, then you'll know you get tossed more than a table-side salad. But going back to Cyclops Cave, I took a death, which made me want to do Industrial Castle instead. I feel like I've... Well, I'm sure that was a fluke. Let's just give it another go. No. I hate this. Next is Lava World, where we kind of ran into a problem. So to get past this door, we need to be beefy. And to get beefy, we kind of need to eat this sandwich. But can meat be bread? Huh. Well, that settles it. These sandwiches are now made of only meat. So I ripped off this door, defeated these skeletons that had no meat on their bones, and moved on to the volcano boss, which we can actually beat as part of the challenge run. After defeating the boss, I was left at half health, but it's okay, since we get a guaranteed meat drop from this chest. So all we have to do is make sure we go to the chest and wait, what am I doing? Wait, not eating this meat actually had a knock-on effect in my next boss fight, since it caused me to be one-shot. That's where I decided to do this extremely risky play and committing to damaging the dragon's head. Commit. Oh, that was so close. Yeah, like 1 second more and I would have had to do the whole of Lava World again. Anyway, with the dragon dead, I could collect the golden wheel, meaning all we had to do was beat Industrial Castle. So I defeated the first few waves of enemies, ran through all of the traps, took the elevator up, and took a bomb to the face. Wait, what? On our next attempt, we made it to the industrial machine boss fight, where things were starting to look a little too similar. But with an iron grip on my meat, I fought, and I won. I collected the golden telescope, which finally allowed me access to the ship, where something pretty embarrassing happened. We're all one big happy community, just showing our schmeat love. The Behemoth! What a great time to enter the stream. But terrible timing aside, we were now in the desert, which I was dreading. From all of my previous challenge runs, meleeing in the desert is by far the worst thing you can do. And when my first death looked like this, I was not feeling hopeful. That's why it surprised me when I beat the desert in 3 tries. Something I kinda wish I did during my no-stat run. But putting generational trauma aside, no one told me that these aliens were packing so much meat. Oh, first meat of the stream, meat! Oh, second meat of the stream, back-to-back meat, but it's, oh my god, it's right next to a banana. Dude, I can't risk it. Oh, third meat of the stream, oh my god! Next was the alien ship, where I had to treat it similar to the Troll Mother. Having a lot of enemies in a cramped area drastically increases the chances of me picking up a fruit. But with my experience from the Troll Mother, I was able to maneuver around all of the fruit and make my way to Sandcastle Interior, where I used the secret tunnel. So by using the secret tunnel, I was able to separate the 2 Royal Guard beefies. I then used Shovel Strat to defeat the first beefy, and then repeated it on the second. I 10-0'd the volleyball game, before moving on to Marsh, where I was struggling to defeat the wave of 4 beefy skeletons. Yeah, so not having healing potions was really starting to show, especially since a beefy can take a third of my health from 1 attack. I ended up trying a lot of different strategies, such as only attacking 1 beefy at a time. As long as a beefy has taken 0 damage, they cannot grab you out of the air. This strat would normally work on the first and maybe second beefy, but trying to do this to the third and fourth was almost impossible. Like, look at the way these guys move. But that's when someone in my chat reminded me of Tech. Tech is a glitch that allows you to stay in a juggle, where enemies cannot knock you down and beefies cannot grab you. And if we look at the rules here, glitches are okay. So I teched through the beefy wave, disabled their spawns, and pushed on through the marsh. I eventually ran into the Troll Mother mini-boss, but I honestly wasn't too worried. Having already fought the harder Troll Mother and the aliens, I was getting pretty good at staying in a juggle and not touching the fruit. So with the Troll Mother defeated, it was pretty much a home run. I mean, I'd have to be throwing to fail at this point.
Oh my god, I got locked in an animation!
Next was the corn boss, who was a huge problem for this run. That's because every time you damage the corn, some popcorn will fly out. This popcorn can be eaten, restoring 1 HP. This meant I had to somehow defeat the corn boss, which has 20,000 HP, without eating a single piece of popcorn. I decided for this fight to not recruit the peasants, since I had no control of where the popcorn would go, although the corn boss would sometimes have other plans. And since I had no range, I could only use melee attacks on the corn, which drastically increases the chances of me eating a popcorn. However, you can actually melee the corn without having to get close to him. Let me explain. By getting the corn boss in a certain position, you increase its hitbox by the entire screen, as long as I stay in line with the boss. And by sprinting and doing a dive attack, I can do some pretty insane damage. But this method isn't 100%, since the odd stray popcorn could still reach me. But after a few resets, I was really starting to get this method down when this happened.
Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. I'm good.
What? No! No! There was nothing there! So I think because there's too much popcorn on the screen at once, it was causing some of it to become invisible. However, since my character's technically not eating any food, I'm not going to count this as a fail. Just think of it as a big deep breath. And if you disagree, well, the video's already been edited, I can't really do anything. For defeating the corn boss, we were given the horn, which allowed us to move into Medusa's lair, which was really giving me a hard time. I spent like an hour here, and it was mostly due to me being bad and the very annoying fish enemies. My mood didn't improve either when I got all the way to Medusa just to die to my own mistake. But 1 hour later, Medusa was defeated and I moved on to Full Moon, where I also spent another hour. However, I'm not taking any fault for this one, since I got critted not once or twice, but 3 times in a row. And in case you didn't know, the Monkeyface's weapons only have a 2% chance of critting, which I'm finding hard to believe. Anyway, after beating Full Moon, I first tried Snow World as well as the Frost King, which I really needed after them past 2 levels. This left me with the final 4 bosses of the game, starting with the Painter. Now, to no one's surprise, the Painter was pretty easy. The only annoying thing about this boss fight was having to melee the paintings, which will explode if they get too close to you. But apart from that, the Painter was done first try and wasn't really an issue. I first tried the Undead Cyclops and stepped foot into probably the hardest boss fight in this whole run. That's because the Necromancer has 2 waves of enemies, which by themselves are already a massive challenge. But what makes them even worse for the meat run is that they are all guaranteed to drop fruit. That means no healing in this fight and a very good chance of getting knocked into fruit. So what was the plan? Well, like in Marsh, I planned to use tech in order to juggle all of the enemies. But not every enemy in this room can be juggled, meaning I had to leave my tech and fight them head on. For my first few attempts, I failed to get into tech, resulting in death. A few tries later, and I did manage to get into tech, only to be killed by the remaining enemies. My next attempt was another great one when I managed to get it down to the final 3 enemies. And this could have been the run, until this happened.
Where's the game? Where's the pre-game fest? The pre-game?
The brute got a speed boost. And at that point, I was in very low spirits. God, do it. Oh my god, I don't want to do it. Oh, I'm broken. But after getting so close on my last attempt, I decided to give it one more go. And to try and boost my spirit, I played a copyrighted song which I can't include in this video. But if you were there in the stream, then you know it was pretty epic. But on this attempt, I managed to defeat all of the enemies and then defeat the Necromancer, which I credit 100% to that music. This left me with the final boss, which is the Evil Wizard. And if you have any experience fighting this guy, then you'll know I first tried every single phase. So with the Evil Wizard defeated, I landed on the crystal, caught the final princess, and rode it all the way back to the castle. And gathered with family and, friends, we could finally enjoy Thanksgiving.
Hey, why does this meat look like it's been to war?
Oh, sorry about that.